Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wild Chat Facts. This is going to be our first episode that we are doing about specific animal facts. We do the show, everybody has fun, we have fun conversations. We don't always get into too much like actual information. So, you guys wanted us to do that, so that's going to be the start of this series. Each episode, we're going to take an animal and we are going to kind of gather our favorite facts, our favorite stories. We're going to have some quizzes for each other, but in these, you're going to get a lot of information. You'll get a little bit of us, but for the most part, the us part of this show is just going to be what did I find interesting versus what did Maria find interesting. We both have very like we look at the same sheet and it's like, oh, I think this is really cool, and then she's like, no, that's really boring. This is really cool though. Um, so, so we're coming at it from slightly two different angles, and we're just gonna see how it goes, guys. Hopefully you enjoy it, and we'll kind of see where we're at. We're just gonna alternate. So kind of the first section will be more like facts, and then we're gonna kind of do stories after that about the particular animals. And then if you've been watching the podcast lately, we start doing the quiz stuff. So we'll kind of start throwing in some fun quizzes. You guys can join in, yell at the screen, kind of like Jeopardy, if you know the answer before we do. And that's kind of how this is gonna flow theoretically. So we'll see what happens.
Sorry,
Marty,
I turned around. Pepita was participating, so I was keeping an eye
okay.
on her.
Okay, sorry, peeps. Next fact video is dogs. This fact video is cats. This is all about cats, guys. I did leave that part out. That probably would have been important, huh?
Especially the first thing you could have said, welcome to Wild Chats Facts about cats.
Yes, but I wanted people to kind of know what this is and where we're going with it. And on the off chance you guys watch this show and you haven't seen Wild Chats, you happen to find this some other way. If you like the show and you want more of us, go check out Wild Chats, the regular podcast. All right, done with all that good stuff, Mar. Would you like to go first? We've compiled lists of the facts we like. We got sheets on the side, guys. Our memory is not phenomenal, so we weren't about to memorize all these facts. So if you see us looking off, that's us reading our favorites and just kind of going one by one. So that's how this is going to flow.
Awesome.
Mar,
So the
you want to go first?
fastest way to begin this show is to talk about speed. Cats are really fast, but did you
Okay.
actually know they run faster than Usain Bolt, which is one of the fastest men in the world?
Okay. See, I wanted to start this show off with a joke. It's a
Oh,
fact and a joke mixed together. So Maria went with speed because she wants to go fast. Now I'm going to slow it down with funny. So you can already
okay.
tell the two different angles we're taking. Maria, what would you call the first successfully cloned cat?
It's called copycat.
No, Maria, you're not supposed to know the answer. That's not fun.
Well, you asked.
Well, that took away my fun. So there's going to be a copycat bum after that. And then, yeah, that actually is a thing. But did you also know that the most expensive cat that's ever been purchased was $50,000? And that's because it was actually a clone of an older cat. It wasn't copycat. This was a different clone. So apparently cat cloning is definitely a thing now. But
Should
somebody
have
paid
been called that one Dolly, like
no,
the
that would
first
be a
sheep.
sheep. That'd be a sheep. All right, what you got next?
So, since I'm talking about speed and stuff, I actually found really interesting how they call a cat hairball.
Okay.
And it's called, and I may be mispronouncing it, but it reminded me of like Zoink, like when you think of Scooby Doo, but it's called Bezork, Bezor,
But okay. All right.
Bezor. I don't
The
know where
sci-
the accent goes.
That's not a foreign name. That's the scientific name for cat furball. Okay. All
I thought it
right.
was awesome.
Okay. Um, so most people know that Isaac Newton was best known for discovering the law of gravity, motion. He invented calculus even. But he did invent something that was even more important to today's society, and that was the cat flap. So you probably don't use too much calculus in your life. Gravity is gravity. It's going to happen whenever it happens. But if you've got a doggy door or a cat flap, you can thank Isaac Newton for that one.
The sad thing about it is several videos ago, I said something and I said Da Vinci because he had so many inventions.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm glad you corrected that one.
Gotcha. All right. What do you got, Mark?
So, going with cat health.
Okay.
Do you know if a dog or a cat or which one can go full vegetarian?
Full vegetarian. Now I know that cats actually, because they have such, what is it? I think it's their liver. one of them that processes stuff, they can actually survive on just a meat diet. So I'm going to assume cats would not be the one that would be full vegetarian option. So I would vote for dog on that one.
Very good. And also to add to that, the reason why they need is they need a taurine, like they actually need it, or they'll go blind, or end up dead. But between the two of them, one of them can drink salt water, and that's cats. They can drink
That's
salt
their
water, the
kidneys. That's right.
kidneys,
Yes.
mhm,
Okay. I said
but not
liver.
dogs.
I know it's one of the organs. It is kidneys. Okay.
Mhm. Well,
All
it
right.
could be in this case, it could be, I don't know exactly why they need the taurine or why they need to be only carnivorous. So it could be the kidneys too.
Okay. So guys, they need taurine, but that doesn't mean they need a Red Bull or energy drink. Do not
Exactly. Please don't give them
no
Red
Red
Bull.
Bulls and energy drinks. This Joe just and that element's actually really important too, because a lot of bodybuilders and people use taurine too. It's good for energy levels if you use it on its own without all the other junk around it. But so I grew up in Southern California, went to Disneyland a lot. I did stay after hours once. That's a story for another time on another channel. But at Disneyland, they actually have like this troop of 200 cats that they release into the park because as with anywhere, there's mice everywhere. So they take care of the cats, they fix them, all the medical things, but they release them at night so they can chase down all the mice so they're not obviously there when the people get there, which I always thought was impressive. But I don't know. This one might be more impressive because in Scotland, they actually built a commemorative tower. Not like a little figure, a tower to a cat that caught 30,000 mice in her lifetime. And in that time, mice catching was really, really important. That's why there's so many cats around, because mice could ruin crops and everything else. So to them, that was like a really big deal, clearly, by building a tower. So Disneyland, 200 cats, tower in Scotland. Not sure which one's more impressive.
And the sad thing is because of the church belief that cats were owned by witches, they exterminated the cats. And the problem was that the fleas that were carried by the mice, because there were no mousers, there were no predators to the mice. That's what spread a lot the Black Plague during the medieval times, because there were no mice, there were no cats to hunt the mice, or
Yeah.
ravens and other birds, and even vultures. They eliminated basically everything that they consider bad, including vultures, which will eat the.
Yeah. A lot like bees, that people don't realize how intricately woven the web is for animals. So if you take one piece of it out, you end up with the Black Death, is basically what Maria's saying. Don't kill animals, you're going to die of the Black Death. Okay, that's the message for today.
Thank you for watching. Until next time.
All right, so that was your addition to my fact. What's your next fact?
So actually, that fact I have builds with the thing about taurine and what they can eat and cannot eat. And interestingly enough, cats cannot, neither little nor big cats, and I mean giant, like tigers, lions, they cannot taste sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But what they can taste is the adenosine triphosphate, which is basically a molecule that gives energy to the cells.
Mm-hmm.
They can taste that,
Okay.
not the sugars, which I found to be very incredible.
And science actually thinks that the reason they can't taste sweet, even though they have a lot less taste buds than dogs, science actually believes it was a mutation somewhere along the line when they were domesticated and they lost those sweet taste buds. So a lot of people think it's because I think they have 400 and something taste buds versus like a dog has like triple or more than that. But it's not a lack of taste buds. They believe it was a mutation where they lost that part of their palate, essentially. So. All right, this one's always fun, guys. If you have cats, their urine will glow under blacklight in the dark. But if you want to try this, it has to actually be really, really dark. So much like the way people like to inspect hotel rooms to see what's been going on, you could theoretically do that with your cat. But I don't know that that's the best welcome home when you come home from vacation.
You can have a raid party and see.
This pattern looks different from the other pattern. Who did you invite over while we were gone?
And building up of the rave party, just to kind of build up as a side, we're talking about catnip and how catnip is very attractive to cats. Well, I
Hmm.
was reading something that said that catnip affects more male cats than younger cats. So male cats, adult male cats, get
Hmm.
more affected by catnip than anyone else, and younger kittens do not get affected by catnip.
Well, the smell of catnip actually, the part of what drives them crazy, especially the males, is it replicates some type of smell that the females have. So obviously, the older the kitten, the more mature and ready to reproduce, would go a little bit more crazy over the smell of a female kitten. Then, so that would make sense to me. So if you were still trying to bust your cat with your blacklight, another fun thing you can do at in the dark is because cats clean themselves so much, just like if you rub your socks on the carpet, you'll build up static electricity. If it's really, really dark, you can actually, if you pet your cat, you will see like sparks and arcs of electricity a lot of times because of the way they clean themselves, because their tongues aren't necessarily wet. So you're getting dry on dry rubbing like sock on carpet. Um,
That's always fun when your hair, when you play with a balloon and you rub it on your hair and the hair goes up. That's
and
always
then you
fun.
put it on the cat, and then you watch the cat's hair go up, and then you just feel like you're in like an Isaac Newton experiment of some sort. Or Thomas Edison,
That would be
sorry.
more Tesla. That would be more
Yeah, it was
Tesla.
Edison who stole it from Tesla. Okay, all right, that's fair. Tesla deserves the credit on that one. So actually, cats did not exist in the United States, domestic cats, until about the 1750s, which is when Europeans brought them over for, guess what? Controlling pests. So they
Hmm.
really were that valuable. That's why they got their own towers in Scotland. They, as far as keeping mice away and rodents and other thing that would eat your grain, cats were super duper duper useful.
I'm talking about cats and food because it seems like all the stuff I did was very food oriented. Now that I'm
Okay.
looking at my list, which is kind of funny because I didn't realize it. Um, Prior to the literal explosion worldwide of sushi, bluefin tuna, which is now almost there is extremely expensive bluefin
Yes.
tuna. Is one of
Yes.
the most expensive cuts of fish.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be considered so worthless. They used to feed it to cats. That was part of
Mm-hmm.
cat food
Mm-hmm. They used to feed lobsters to prisoners in America for the exact
in
same reason.
Boston.
On the
Mhm.
East Coast in general, the entire East Coast, there was so many lobsters, they would feed them to the prisoners because it was just leftover
Even
stuff.
now that it's still so expensive, I will not touch it.
Yeah, I had lobster once, got sick, not happening. Um, so in the original Italian version of Cinderella, most people know that a lot of Disney stories have another origin, usually a little darker origin, and they kind of tweak the stories to make them kid friendly. That's a little bit of a pattern with Disney movies and books and
Yes.
stories. The benevolent fairy godmother originally was a cat.
Oh, how cute is that?
It was a cat. Hmm.
Speaking of stories and movies, did you know that the cat feature in The Godfather, he purrs so loudly that Marlon Brando's dialogue had to be redoubled?
He had to go into the booth and dub his own audio because of the cat. Oh, guys, anybody that's ever done acting or voiceover, you know how frustrating that is. Like, I'm on set, I delivered it, I'm in the groove. Now you're gonna put me in a booth. Oh, if you guys watch our backstage shows, you know how much I like to talk about movies and acting.
Yeah.
Okay. So also, not also, this is a totally different thing. Cats are so sensitive to vibration that it's said they can detect earthquakes and tremors. Usually you see animals freak out a little bit like 30 seconds, a minute before. They say that cats can actually detect it 10 to 15 minutes before. Because as the plates start to slide and things start to move, activity picks up. So I didn't realize it was that long of a duration between an earthquake starting itself and actually like rumbling to the surface. But
Well, it's
cats,
not necessarily that it hasn't started. It's more like the beginning of it. Like
no,
something has
that's
to give, but we don't feel it until
yeah,
later.
that's what I was saying. I must have misspoke. I didn't realize that it took that long for the process to play itself out before it ends up to a point where we can feel it. And being from LA, yeah, I know my earthquakes. Uh, should have had some cats around, but unfortunately, they seemed to always strike when I was in bed. What do you got, Margaret?
Well, speaking of vibrations and frequencies, cats can purr, or cats actually purr they vibrate at the frequency of 25 to 150 hertz, which
Okay.
is literally the frequency at which muscles repair themselves. So when doctors and people talk about cats' healing powers, and there's actually a lot of studies that show that cats have healing powers and why their purring is very soothing and very, very powerful, is
Mhm.
because of that, of the
Okay.
vibration and the frequency in which they purr.
Okay.
So next time, if you broke a leg or something and you have a cat, just put the cat right next to the broken.
Yeah, you don't need a cast. Don't go to the doctor. Just throw the cat on top of your leg. You'll be fine. A band-aid and a cat. You'll heal anything. You're fine. You're
You
fine.
don't even have to buy the cat. You can actually download a cat purring.
Not the same. They don't keep the leg as warm. It's partly the heat and the purring that helps the healing blood flow. Ice and then cold, heat and then cold, and then it's
No,
a
no, eyes and then cat, eyes and then
right.
cat.
Heat and okay, exactly. Uh, so cats have been around people for so long. You get these conflicting beliefs. Black cats are bad luck most places. They're good luck in England and Australia. Cats are lucky on a boat, but only if they have six toes. But then cats are unlucky on a boat. There's a lot of weird superstitions involving cats. Um, but there's even conflicting stories throughout history because there was a cat that basically went on every voyage of the RMS Empress of
Yeah, that
Ireland.
one.
No, no, no. And she refused to board one day, and the ship sank. It could have been that
Yeah.
she felt an earthquake coming, so she knew not to get on the. No, that was two totally different things. But then there was another cat that basically was on three warships. So okay, no cat sinking. Then there's another cat that's on a boat, and unfortunately, three warships that cat was on all sank, and she managed to float away on driftwood every single time. So lucky to have a cat, lucky to not have a cat. I just think it's all coincidental. But hey, make whatever superstition you want out of it.
Exactly. Now, what is cool about cats is that in 2012, a stray cat became a seeing eye guide animal for a blind dog, and the way she will move it is like it will paw the blind dog. Her name was Turfel, and he will use to paw to gently lead him around the house.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Adorable. So I've led Maria into the kind of the stories version of this. Theoretically, when we started this, we were going to kind of do facts, then stories, then
Dude,
quiz.
I let you already in when we started talking about the Godfather and you took the movie.
Because I didn't really divide mine up. This is the first go round, guys, but I'm having fun so far, so I'm assuming you guys are having fun too. So I'm going to go back to a little bit of a hack slash fact here. I'm kind of going to reverse categories. Um, and this is actually good information for everybody to know. So, instinctively, domestic cats don't want to drink water that's next to their food bowl. And the reason is that when they're out in the wild, because most of their instincts come from when they used to be out in the wild, we still have it as humans, as intellectually evolved as we are. We all have instincts. But for them, if there was game next to the water, that the water could be contaminated because as a carcass rots, disease comes, and if it's next to their water source, a lot of times they won't eat next to where they drink because of that innate kind of sense that they have before they evolve to be our pets. So it's sometimes a good idea to keep the water and the food for your cats away from each other.
And that's why if you take it out of the refrigerator, they may not like it because to them that's just now too cold. Like that's just
Gotcha.
now too dead, basically.
Okay. Okay.
But you mentioned something about superstitions and things like that, which is one of our favorite subjects. We seem to talk a lot about it in some of our podcasts. But in the U.S., which is very peculiar, not all cats in the world have 9 lives. The
Okay.
U.S. has 9 lives, but Germany, ancient Egypt, and Europe, and even Colombia, they have 7 lives. But in the Arabian countries, they have six.
Okay. Actually, I think you're a little off on the Columbia one. They don't have 7 lives. They have siete lives. They have siete. Um, Did you know that there was a cat physicist at one point in time?
There was a cat physicist.
There was a cat physicist at one point in time. There was a professor who basically wrote his entire paper, and for whatever reason, he kept using the words we and our. So his publisher wouldn't allow him to publish the paper under just his name because it made him sound a little crazy. He kept referring to multiples. So they said he needed to either credit. They said he needed to credit another scientist. Well, there wasn't actually another scientist involved that helped write the paper, at least according to him. So what he did was he just added his cat's name to the paper. That way, there was two names, and he didn't seem crazy. And clearly, he just didn't tell anybody the other person was a cat, because that would have made him seem equally crazy.
That's adorable. And did you know that Bast, who's the daughter of Isis in ancient Egypt, she had the face of a cat. So therefore, anyone who killed a cat, even if it was an accident, was basically in trouble. And they found such big cat cemeteries that they were embalmed and they were taken to England, because in England, having cats, like mummified cats, placed within the walls of their homes was designed to help ward evil spirits.
Okay.
Not evil.
They did
Mhm.
something similar to that from Egypt with mummies, and they shipped them to England, but unfortunately, they were burned in the railroad cars as fuel for the steam trains at that point in time. So yes, a lot of mummies got reused out of Egypt. So renewable. Would that be renewable energy? I'm
It
not
will
sure.
definitely be recycled.
You guys chime in on that one.
We'll
Okay.
leave it at that.
Here's a fun question for you guys. It's hypothetical because I know the answer already. But would you ever want or let your dog pee on you? I hope the answer is no. Um, the reason I bring this up is if you ever let your cat rub up against you, you essentially just did the same thing. Because cats have glands in their face, and that's basically how they mark their humans and their stuff is they rub up against it versus a dog that likes to lift his leg, pee on something and say mine. Cat rubs up against something with its face, and that's how it says mine.
Yeah, but the wetness is completely different. So they
Yeah, but
glance on their faces or their pheromones in their back, and actually they lift their butt towards you. It's a sign of friendship. Like that's
Mhm.
a sign of good behavior. Like most people will be offended. Why is this cat lifting their butt? But literally, what you're saying is the glands are exposed, and they're literally saying, "Hey, I'm friendly,"
Mhm. Mhm.
which sounds
Okay.
awful.
Let's see. You're up.
I am up. Um, did you know that there was actually a Labrador Retriever, and it wasn't the 19 earlier, well, 1924. He was sentenced to life without parole in a state penitentiary, because he killed the governor's cat without
Well,
parole.
I mean, if you want to harken back to your English, I mean, let's see. Uh, let's see. Oh yes. Oh yeah. They actually would kill people that killed cats. Yes. Yeah. Cat. Sometimes people's cats are important to them, whether it be a government official or an entire society of the past. People like their cats.
Yes, they did. And even there was a turtle that a teacher was. This is from another fact thing I was reading about, and they sentenced a snapping turtle to death because he was eating cats and dogs. But what happened is somebody was feeding them cats and dogs, but they were like, no, the turtle ate them. They ate somebody's pets, and he was
That's
also sentenced to death.
that's
But
a bummer.
in an Indiana state prison, this is a good one. This is a
Okay.
good one.
Okay. All
They're
right.
actually allowing people who are murderers and like high prison. We're not talking about low prison. This is high prison,
Okay.
to adopt cats into their cells, because
Okay.
what they're trying to achieve is they're trying to help them learn compassion for
Okay.
living things. So they're allowing them to fall in love with something as fragile as a cat. Although
Gotcha.
cats are not always fragile.
Yes.
Thing.
Maria hit up the prison cat facts section of the internet pretty hard, guys. I think that's about 3 in a row. So we know where Maria spent some time on her search. That's like your third prison cat fact in a row, or sections
You're
of.
right.
Yes, you went prison heavy
True.
on this one.
That's weird.
Okay, back to the fun. We'll get to the health and well-being section. So cats and dogs actually love to lay in the sun. Part of it is because the oily cholesterol on their skin will break down in the sun, and then essentially when they're cleaning themselves and licking, it's kind of their way of taking like a vitamin D supplement because it melts
Hmm.
on their skin. They do a little licking and then basically they're ingesting it. So there you go.
That's why they were saying it's good not to wash your animals all the time. Like there are people who every time they take the dog or a cat goes outside, they clean them.
Hmm.
And actually, it's being said that less is more in this case,
Yes,
so that they
exactly.
can synthesize vitamin D.
Exactly. Plus, you need them to stay alert because there was the cat in Wisconsin that saved her family by pawing at them to wake them up, and they couldn't understand why, but they had enough faith in their cat that they followed their cat because it clearly wanted to tell them something. And when first responders showed up to the house, they found out that the level of carbon monoxide poisoning in the house basically would have killed them had they stayed.
Heroic cat.
So thank you for that, whoever cat you might have been.
Well,
Um,
we have Masha from Russia. Masha
oh,
from Russia.
Masha Rasha.
Uh, Masha from Russia. About 7 years ago, Masha kept a 2-month-old baby who was abandoned. It kept it warm from freezing temperatures, and then they found the child, but
Oh,
he kept the
nice.
cat. Masha kept the cat. I mean, kept the baby
Get
warm.
the baby. Nice, nice.
Hmm.
Well, Holland in a Holland embassy, Moscow. Apparently, they really got. They're like, okay, well, if you could protect a baby. Oh wait, no, this would have came first because this was like in the '60s. But they had two Siamese cats that kept meowing and clawing at the walls of the building inside the Holland embassy in Moscow.
Uh
And the
huh.
owners figured out that they thought it was a mouse. Turned out that the cats could actually hear the feedback or some piece of the electronics from some microphones that the Russians had hid inside their embassy at some point in time.
Yes, I heard about that. That is so awesome. And
Uh-huh.
talking about embassies and doctors, I mean, and presidents, Sucks, who was President Clinton's cat,
Okay.
was so loved by the media that the Clinton administration said that he received more letters than the president himself.
So this is going to be one I didn't fact check it, so I wasn't going to share it. But since you brought that up, I'm going to share this one. There was a
Go for
fact
it.
that basically said there was a Nintendo game that never got released that was made about Clinton's cat, and essentially the cat was trying to like thwart people that were trying to steal like nuclear codes or something. So it was like this cat versus the Republicans and trying to stop them from getting these codes. I'm like, how do you make a video game out of that? And yes, I understand why that was never released. And I did not
Yeah,
fact
and why
check this.
Republicans?
Yes, well, because Clinton was a Democrat.
Yeah, but still.
Cat was defending from the bad guys. I don't, like I said, I didn't fact check this one, but I read it and I'm like, no, I'm not going to share that. That's just going too far. But you brought up Clinton's cat, so I had to do it. I had to do it. Um, did you know that there's a theory that part of the reason that domestic cats don't like water is because their hypersensitive noses can detect the chemicals in our tap water? So it's not an issue
Mm.
with water in general. It's an issue with all the chlorine and treatment and stuff we do
But
to
they
our.
like chlorine, though. They like chlorine. It
I
could
didn't.
be all the sulfurs and potassiums
Yeah,
and
part of it.
fluorides.
Hmm.
Because I
Depending.
know I read a fact that said that they actually, I'm reading right now, some cats love the smell of chlorine.
Okay. Okay.
Go
Well, if
figure.
because of their sense of smell, if a cat ever gets lost, they say that you should take their litter box and put it on your front porch because they can smell their litter box from up to a half a mile away. But
Yes.
if a litter box smells too badly for you humans inside the house, a trick for the odors is to actually put some coffee grounds next to it. And it actually works a little bit better than baking soda as long as you like the smell of coffee. And the coffee grounds will actually absorb the bad odors. And the same trick, you can take kitty litter and put it at the bottom of your trash cans. So if your bags leak a little bit, the kitty
Coffee
litter will
filter.
soak up. No, no, the kitty litter will soak up any of the liquids from the trash, so you don't have a smelly trash can when you take the bag out, which isn't a cat
Well, if
hack.
you have a spill, like if there is a spill, like gasoline spill or things like that, kitty litter is what they use to clean
Yeah.
this the oil spills. Like if you're at a gas station and something spills.
No, if you get a red wine stain, they say put kitty litter on it and then let it soak in and then vacuum it up was like the best first step you can do to try to get a
If
red.
you have kitty litter.
if you have kitties, and that might have been the thing that spilled your wine to begin with. So they kind of owe
I
you.
was just gonna
Yeah,
say.
exactly. Totally fair. What do you got, Mar?
I actually moved to bigger cats.
Bigger? Oh, you went to big cats? Oh, we're
Yes.
gonna do a whole video on like cheetahs and stuff later. But let's see some big cat stuff.
Yes, but
Preview.
I have it here. I have it here. It's not a hypothetical, but I'm going to ask it to you.
Okay.
Who do you think will win a fight
Me.
between a cheetah or a hyena?
Individuals? I mean, I'd put my money on the hyena because they roll in packs. But if you're talking
No,
one
no, no.
cheetah, one,
I'm talking about there is a cheetah and there is a hyena.
1-1. Ooh. Guys, feel
Because you
free.
can see cheetahs together. They're not always by themselves.
Yeah, that's true. If this was Wild Chats, I'd say everybody in the comments write what you think the answer to this question is or what you believe. But since it's being presented as a fact, I believe Maria has a definitive answer. It's not an iffy thing here. I mean, it's hard. It's a cat video, so I've got to slide with the cheetah, especially if it's only got one, because hyenas are used to hunting in packs, so their skill level is based around packs. So I'm going on one cheetah versus one hyena. I go cheetah.
Hyena.
That was right. No, means right. No, you mixed up the sound. Ryan wins. That was correct. Okay, explain why the hyena then.
The hyenas are actually, what happens is actually cheetahs are a little bit more fragile than you think. They're really fast, but they're more fragile. Now, hyenas come from the civets and from the mongoose family. They're very sturdy. They're very strong. They're sturdy, and that's why.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I forgot to tell you that my cheetah in this had a rhino bodyguard. You didn't tell me he couldn't have a bodyguard. My cheetah had a rhino bodyguard, so my cheetah still won.
No. Your cheetah had a vest.
Right. I don't know if I believe this story, and I find it adorable and creepy all at the same time, so you guys can give your feedback on this one. But Antonio Banderas, who actually is the voice of Puss in Boots for most of your Shrek adventures, watched on the red carpet premiere of the movie. He watched the movie by himself with 25 cats around him for the first time, or during a red carpet premiere. I don't know if it's from a reputable source, but I didn't get any more information than that. I'm just trying to picture Antonio Banderas chilling out with 25 cats watching a movie by himself.
That part I can believe. I can believe that, but I cannot believe it during a premiere, because usually during a premiere they invite.
Well, but a red carpet premiere, they do like 50 of them. Like, oh, we've got a London red carpet premiere and an LA red carpet. It could have been like
maybe he had a red carpet premiere in his house or at a shelter.
Carpet premiere of Puss in Boots, and he was like, I'm just gonna roll with 25 cats instead of,
There's a new one coming out. I'm very excited about it. Speaking of Puss in Boots, and they do talk about the 9 lives. So
gotcha. No, the Siete lives. The
Siete lives.
Well, he's Spain. How many lives do they have in Spain? I
don't know. I can check it really quickly.
Okay, it might still be 9. We're gonna assume it's still 9. While you're checking, I'll move on then. So babies that are exposed to cats and dogs have a lower chance of developing allergies as they grow up. But interestingly enough, cats can be allergic to humans.
You stole mine.
It's not just a one-way trick here, guys. You can go either way, but kids, everybody's so afraid of them being allergic to animals and stuff. It turns out that children are actually more allergic to cockroaches than they are to cats. So this misnomer of allergies and cats and kids and all that stuff, not really a thing. It actually helps if they're around animals when they're younger.
Just make sure it's not a cockroach.
Yeah, if your kid has pet cockroaches, that just means you need to clean your house. That's not a pet.
Yes.
Okay.
So I just did my research, and in Spain it's also 7 lives, but in the movie, because the movie was designed by Disney, it's actually 9.
Well, it wasn't like a Spain release. Now you got Netflix that have like specific Spain shows or specific Italy shows that get released and then converted to English. So then I would expect 7. Well, since I stole one of yours, I'll let you deliver the next one then.
I'm actually moving to the quizzes.
Okay, then I'm going to keep rolling because I got more.
Go for it. Okay. Yeah, because I think I already kind of told you the stuff I have. I'm sure I can come up with more as you keep talking. Like I'm sure they'll
Okay.
come to me.
So there was a stowaway Greek cat that flew in the undercarriage of an Airbus A321 from Athens to Zurich, and the cat actually survived. Undercarriage, not like somebody put it in a cage and it went inside the plane. It like snuck up into the wheel well um, at the airport somehow and got itself in there, but there's clearly no climate control unless you're inside the plane. And the cat
And the
actually,
oxygen level. Where did it fly from?
it flew from, it was a Greek cat, so I'm assuming it flew from, yeah, from Athens to Zurich, Switzerland.
That's a long trip. So it went high because I was thinking if it was a short trip, they,
Don't really get to their peak and then they come, yeah, exactly.
wow.
Um,
But
there was
I have a story to share about
let
that.
me let me add on the second half of this, and then we'll hear yours. So there was a Brussels airline flight to Vienna that
Who's
actually
proud?
had to abort the flight because the pilot was attacked in the cockpit by a passenger's cat. Was that your story? I
Yes.
stole Maria's story. You should have told me it was airplane related. I would have let you roll with it. I thought it was just gonna be like a general story, not like, no, I've got a cat airplane story. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Not a
There was
person.
a cat that was but I didn't have the location. I just remembered
Okay.
the story, but I didn't have the specifics of it.
Okay. All right.
I
Let's
just
see.
remember that was in one of the videos we did in the past.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, you know what? I shared this in our last one of our recordings recently, but I'm gonna share it again, guys. If you have an indoor cat, put the name of the cat and then in parentheses indoor cat. That way, if your cat gets out and people find it, they know that it's an indoor cat and it shouldn't be outside. Most of the time, if we see a cat outside, we assume it's an outdoor cat. If we see it repeatedly, we just assume it's kind of on its daily jaunt, but that's not always the case. So if you have an indoor cat, put Fluffy, parentheses, indoor cat. That way people,
Fluffy.
yes, Fluffy. Fluffy is the name of my cat. Um,
Did you know what the name of people who breed cats, how they call the cat breeders? What are they called?
Mr. Meow Meow. Or Mrs. Meow Meow. Sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Meow Meow.
Catteries.
Catteries? Like kind of canary with a T, like catteries?
It sounds like catering, doesn't it?
Okay. Oh, that's even more evil. Yeah, I ran across a fact about people eating cats. I'm like, I'm not sharing that one. That we're not doing that one.
No,
Uh,
no, we're not. But there was a story about, or not a story, but something about the name cat actually came from dog.
yeah, the original name did represent. Yeah, I forget which way it went, but in Greek, if you break down the components of the Greek name for it, it actually meant the other one.
Like
Kind of like,
little dog. That's what
yeah,
cat meant.
it's like back in the day, little boys wore pink and little girls wore blue, and somehow the colors flipped at some point. It was one of those
Yep.
historical things.
In the
Um,
20s or 40s.
you want to hear a fun origin story for cats?
Yes.
Okay. There's a Hebrew legend that says that Noah prayed to God for help protecting all the food that was stored on the ark because it was being eaten by rats. It should have only been two rats. So I'm really confused how these two rats are eating all of it. But I'm gonna ignore that
They
part.
reproduce. They reproduce.
But in reply, God made a lion sneeze and out popped the cat. Boom. There you go. Cat origin stories, everybody. We got it all. We got it all. We got myths. We got superstitions. We got origin stories. Mar,
Well,
you sure you know the answer to this? But why? What are cats' whiskers for?
they're actually to measure space. That's what they say. They're designed to kind of for them to have a measuring stick.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, guys. So, and nobody that watches this show would ever do it. But do not cut your cat's whiskers. Don't cut one side of your cat's whiskers. Like that's just like,
There's
yeah,
no reason to do that, actually. I mean, the cat whiskers are beautiful as they are.
yes, just don't do
Mhm.
that. Do you want to know which one of our American presidents was a massive cat lover?
I have it.
You got it. Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Okay, go.
Abraham Lincoln.
I
He
need more.
had 4 cats that live in the White House with him.
Okay, okay. Did did you happen to read that he actually used to let them eat from the table during formal White House dinners?
No,
See
I
like a
didn't get that.
dignitary from Austria on the fine china and like tabbies just chilling there eating off of his plate. Like that's a cat lover right there.
That's a cat lover right
Yes.
there.
That's a thing. That basically exactly happened. You said you got some
Yeah.
quizzes. What do you got?
No, no, I have another story because I did
Okay.
find more stuff. But there was a woman, her name was Maria Assunta, and in 2011, when she passed away, she left her cat, Tommaso. Guess how much money? Just wild guess. Not expecting you to guess right.
5,786,342 pesos.
Then you're right.
Yeah.
13 million. 13 million.
13 million, but that was dollars, not pesos. So I was really far off. No matter
No,
what
because you
peso
said pesos, so I divided it. Yeah.
yeah,
So
no matter what pesos. The beauty is if you go with peso, you've got like Argentinian, Mexican, like you can kind of make peso work, but either way it would be divided and I'd be wrong. Okay. Um, do you know what the record is for a fall for a cat that has actually been survived? And I'll let you answer in amount of stories. How many
I think it was
stories?
19.
19. Really? You guess 19. You think a cat? That's like 200 feet in the air plus.
Yeah, but I think it was 19 or 14. There is a 1 and a 4 or a 9.
Okay. Or a 6. 16. 16 floors.
Oh, so then I flipped the 9.
I don't know what you did there.
Yep.
16 floors. Um,
And he survived. He only broke like a leg or
yeah, it
something.
wasn't.
It wasn't.
Yeah, if the cat was like brain dead and couldn't walk and stuff anymore, there's no way in heck I would have shared that story. So yes,
No, 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 no,
not
no.
end up too poorly. What do you got, Mar?
Well, I go with the big cats again.
Okay, all right.
What do lions, leopards, tigers, and jaguars have in common?
They walk with their tails down because domestic cats are the only ones that walk with their tails up. And I'm right, but that's not the answer you wanted.
But I love where you're going with it. Nothing to do with this, but just keep talking.
They all walk with their tails down, and I know I'm right.
Well, male lions will walk with their tails up if they're marking territory, but that's it.
Okay, all right. In general.
So, but that's
okay.
just for purposes.
You got me on that one. But the answer to this question is
Oh, you want me to give it to you? You don't want to guess?
no. That,
You don't
that
want to guess the frequency of your
I'm already right. I'm not going to guess again and be wrong. I guess they walk with their tails up. I'm right. I want to be victorious, but clearly there's a second option. So we'll let Maria share the second option.
They are actually incapable of purring.
Okay.
Incapable, not
Okay.
incapable.
Incapable. Yeah. Did you know that cats can purr even when they're inhaling and exhaling?
Yes, they can. And they don't do it only because they're happy. They're actually soothing themselves.
Yeah.
So if you hear your cat purring, is not always a sign of happiness. It could be because they're not feeling good. So you just keep an eye on your cat and see if there's any weird behavior. If they go outside the litter box, if they're doing things that are not natural, if they're more aggressive than normal, then it is a good time to take them to the vet. And purring is also a very good sign.
Do you have any more fun ones you want to share before we round it out? I got one last one I want to do.
You already gave away the allergic. That cats can be allergic to people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I'm not gonna give the other one away. I'm gonna use it for later when we talk about bigger kitties.
Sounds good. All right, my last one is, so most people know that there's a lot of cat cafes and stuff like that in Japan. They're like really, there's a lot of like dog restaurants and stuff, but as far as like the specific cat stuff, it's pretty popular in Japan. Do you know why that is? Other than it makes money, like there's an actual reason for it.
If I could venture a guess, why, but only in Japan? Like, is it specific to Japan?
It's there's a reason that they kind of these cafes started in Tokyo and they kind of proliferated in Tokyo.
If it's only in Tokyo, it has to do with one of those cartoon things. And ears.
The real reason is most apartments and condos in Tokyo don't allow pets. So somebody got the idea to create spaces where you had animals and people pay by the hour to hang out with them, and then you kind of get that rush that you get by being around animals because they're not allowed to have them inside their apartments.
I would have never had guessed that because I went through my list of reasons. Because in many parts of the world, they have cats because they're free mousers, like you said about Disney. But then you have other countries like Saudi Arabia. Like if you're gonna go there, you can't. Like there are places where they don't like cats because they're not clean,
Hmm.
or dogs. And so it never will have ever occurred to me. Never will have ever occurred to me that it's because they couldn't have cats.
I actually had read the opposite. I read that cats were very revered in the Muslim religion because they're so clean. They're actually like admired
Yeah,
for
I
their.
think I mix it with because I have a girlfriend who was telling me that her husband didn't like cats.
Okay. Probably for
So,
another
but
reason, though. As far as culturally, Arabic communities and Muslim communities tend to really like cats. This is just what I read. Again, I didn't fact check it because I didn't put it on my sheet. But they like them because they are so clean, and that is a big
yeah, I
reason.
know that dogs are not clean. Like they don't like dogs. But
Yep.
the cat is because my girlfriend was telling me her husband did not like cats because they were not clean. So I don't know
Good.
if it was because of him or
Yeah.
because of his religion. That's why I say the
Yeah.
disclaimer.
Probably perfs and
Mhm.
specific. All right, guys. I hope you liked the initial inaugural edition of Wild Chats Animal Facts. We did cats today. We're gonna do dogs next. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Checked it out. Leave some comments. Tell us what you guys think. Obviously the first go, so we may tweak the show, make some changes, but hopefully you guys liked it, and we'll see you later. Bye all.